Hey everyone, I'm CC Adams. I'm a London based author of horror and dark fiction. And thanks to the bleeding critic, that clown faced he, she, it, the individual at least who champions horror and film and encourages interaction from the likes of myself, I'm going to share a little horror memory with you. So, I'm going to start this off by making a confession, which is horror films terrify me. They really do scare the shit out of me. But it's not always been like that. I'm the youngest of three sons, no sisters. Three of us had grown up watching horror films, the likes of Salem's Lot, The Shining, The Evil Dead, the one directed by Sam Raimi from way back when, An American Werewolf in London, Phantasm, The Kindred, Rabid, Scanners, and my particular horror memory is now going to continue in a similar vein here because it's one that was brought to the screen by director David Cronenberg, a film called The Fly, the 80s remake with the likes of Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, and John Getz. So, the horror memory that I have is of a scene near the end of the film. Before we get into that scene, let it be known that I've actually seen the film up until a particular point. I remember when the film came out back then, having seen a review here and there in a magazine, in a tabloid, and one reviewer had called it more gooey than gory. Anyhow, I watched the film again up until a particular point. I could watch the opening credits without any issue. I could watch Ronnie meet Seth without any issue. The first balloon teleportation without any issue. The fateful teleportation without any issue. That's where things start to get interesting. The arm wrestling scene in the bar was a little harder to stomach, where Seth is trying to shave and realizes that something, just like Ronnie says, has gone wrong. And even when the penny has finally dropped, and incidentally, I love the way that Seth is the last to know. He's behind the curve. The viewer knows what's going on. Even Ronnie has an idea what something isn't right. But past the scene where she comes back and you see how far his condition has worsened, where he now vomits on his food and he taps his ear and his ear falls off and his skin looks worse and his hair's falling out. I didn't want to watch the film past that kind of narrative. That was more than enough for me. So, imagine this now. How many years down the line when I walk in on my brother and his then girlfriend, sat in the dark, watching The Fly. But the part that they're watching is near the end of the film, where, in a last ditch attempt to save what little humanity he has left, Seth tries to forcibly teleport Ronnie. Understandably, she's not having it, so she fights back and she tears off his jaw. And this triggers his final transformation. Now, the part that I walk in on is where she's held rooted to the spot. She can't move. And his skin is peeling and tearing apart. And his eyes run out of his head. When I saw that scene in the pitch dark of that room, I really felt like I would pass out from sheer terror. Now, there is a phrase or a saying or an expression that when someone is scared, their knees go weak, their legs turn to jelly. That's the sensation I had. I remember after that thinking, if I didn't have the presence of mind to run from the room, I really would have passed out from sheer terror. It was that bad. So, that is my horror memory. Um, I suppose I do feel a little better for sharing that. I do feel somewhat entertained. Hopefully, you're entertained by that as well. Um, if that kind of thing entertains you, you're welcome to head over to my site, which is www.ccadams.com. If you head to the library option there, you'll find links to all my published work available through the likes of Amazon, Barnes and Noble, the usual suspects. And hopefully, my work will move you and maybe even scare the shit out of you. Thanks for watching.